In this episode,
Such reveals he's about to free hit with neither Sterling or Aguero. He truly has lost the plot this time.
The Fantasy Football Show.
hello listeners, welcome back to another episode of Planet FPL. It's either episode 52 or 53.
52,
something
season
like that.
2,
52
pal.
season, yeah. And we're here at the end of game week 31, the first blank game week. And it was...
Shit.
Everyone was shooting blanks, mate. We're back after game week 31, and we have a cheeky little international break. I know some of you have been waiting on bated breath for our podcast, which we would normally put out on a Monday, but we held our guns for 24 hours because of the fixture announcement.
Hashtag winning.
Yes, and about 2 hours ago, the Premier League announced the double game week fixtures for 32 and 35, and so we're going into this episode fully armed, exactly as we planned. And you predicted the fixtures for 32 and 35, didn't you?
Of course.
Let's rewind a little bit. My name's Suj.
My name's James.
If you haven't listened before, this is the greatest place to learn about FPL.
No, it's not.
No,
if you want to learn how to have a good FPL team, listen to a different fucking podcast.
There's a few that we can put out there. So let's get into it. We got a review on game week 31. There were only 5 games this weekend, and regardless of that, the point scores were hideous. Really bad, even taking into account people free hitting, and even taking into account that despite only having 5 matches to choose from, most people went into the game with 9, 10 or 11 players, and it was awful.
It was shite, mate. Can we just move on? I mean, look, I'd finished net 20 points, 24 minus the 4. Got the 3 Bournemouth lads in, Fraser, Wilson. I went for Metham, sold my 3 Wolves guys.
Yeah.
Wish I'd just left it as a 10, not bothered with Metham because I'm not sure I want to play him in 33 now. But I'm glad I didn't play my free hit. I mean, had I played my free hit, I would have been better off. I said on the pod last week, I'd have thrown King in with Wilson personally if I was doing that, and I would have played Mane as well, obviously. But other than that, it would have been the same shocking shit. So would it have been worth the extra 25 points? Not really.
Now that you know who you have to choose from in game week 32, probably not, and especially the way the fixtures have come out, I will, and which we're going to go through in just a second. My game week 31 was 35 points minus 4, which left me with a net 31, which was still a red arrow, which took me down. I'm now 1,007,000 or something. It's a 3,000 point drop. It was negligible in the grand scheme of things, but it was a drop.
Climbed above Manchild, though.
I have climbed above Manchild, but did you see the state of his team?
He had about 4 players, didn't he?
Yeah, Captain Aguero.
Good lad. Him and 8.9% of the rest of the community did as well. Well, not the community of FPL players.
Yeah, I mean, that's the dead teams, isn't it, for you?
I don't know, mate. That's 8.9% of live teams, Captain Aguero.
No.
Yes.
Well,
I don't know if there was obviously quite a few who had a lot of shithousery going on. I don't know, vice captain Salah, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But no, listen, there aren't nearly 600,000 managers intelligent enough to play shithousery for FPL. So no, there was a lot of live teams that I don't know.
There were only maybe 8 or 10 players this weekend that really hauled, that had any kind of ownership, and very few people would have had a combination of 3 or 4 of those to get your 50, 60 points. I was at the West Ham Huddersfield game, and so I didn't actually pay any attention to any other games. So it was a nice surprise when I came out of the match to see Josh King's double haul, especially as the week before it was like Wilson and Fraser. This week it was King, and I've had King since Wilson got his injury, and I can't justify moving from one to the other, especially because King's on pens. So it was nice to get some returns from him. Anderson's assist was the only other return that I picked up.
It's my only return. In the last 2 game weeks, I've had an assist from Anderson, an assist from Salah.
And that's it.
That's it.
Wow, this is painful going at the moment.
But I did captain Salah for the assist.
Yeah, interesting.
What a fucking state.
This is really bad. So yeah, we'll run through the games just in a few seconds. We've also mapped out game week 32 and game week 35's doubles. And we have the Twitter questions as always to go through as well. Having said that, I think we're going to cover a ton of stuff when we look at the double game week that's about to come up. What percentage of FPL players do you think are going to be free hitting this week? Quite a lot.
Oh,
Half?
I would have thought no.
Not as high as that?
I don't think it will be as many as last week.
Right, okay.
I think in the community, I think a lot of people are on the chunky chip strategy. But I think generally across the game, I don't think there'll be as many on this route. So I think you might be surprised. I think it'd be lower than you think.
Interesting. So the games from the weekend, Bournemouth 2, Newcastle 2. Interesting result. I suppose Bournemouth will continue to score goals, and I'm happy to have Brooks and King from Bournemouth, but they are leaky at the back, which did make your Metham choice a little bit surprising. You win some, you lose some.
Exactly, yeah. I got him in because I looked him up in a bit more detail and I saw he had less followers than us on Twitter, so I thought I'd fucking give him a bit of a boost, mate.
But by putting him in your FPL team,
basically. I'd looked at it and took the theory of obviously 2 home games, bearing in mind I'll obviously free hit this week, Newcastle and Burnley, and I wanted someone to run with it. I went with Fraser rather than Brooks because I was fearful that Brooks would play centre midfield, which he did, and that ruled out the idea of going Rudiger for me, which would have been worse anyway. So, I mean, look, who would it matter if I'd gone for? I was never considering Everton defensively.
No.
So it doesn't matter who the fuck I went for. I was losing, wasn't I?
Yeah.
As I said on the last pod, I thought the winners this week would be those who got the correct differential forwards, and essentially the only ones that returned were in this game, which were King and Rondon, basically.
Yeah.
So well done if obviously you got either of those. Takeouts on this, obviously Fernandes back for Newcastle at centre half was a boost because we were worried if they might go back to a back 4. They obviously now play in game week 33 because Palace went out of the FA Cup, and Bournemouth play Burnley. I think once we get to 33, these two will be looked at again, although I think most who've gone down the strategy that we're on will probably have got the Bournemouth attacking talent that they want.
Yeah.
And Palace notoriously do better away from home than they do at home. I think the defeat at Watford was their first away from home in about 8, I think.
Yeah.
So you probably aren't going back onto either of these two in 33 if you're on that strategy?
No, I mean, the only player out of Bournemouth and Newcastle that I would now consider getting in 33, and I'm only going to have one free transfer in 33 because obviously I'm going to free hit this week, would be Arnautovic to Rondon maybe, because Arnautovic away at Chelsea isn't a very attractive fixture. Rondon's the only player from Newcastle that I would consider. I've already got King and Brooks, so there's no one from Bournemouth that I would consider for 33.
I think you'd go Rondon over Perez now, wouldn't you?
Yeah, yeah, I think I would. But Arnie to Rondon, then there's probably better options, better moves that I can make with my one free transfer. But I'll cross that bridge when I get to it.
I don't think that's that bad. I mean, I'm in a position like yourself where obviously I took Son through with me, thinking that he might play in 33. He's obviously not. So that's my obvious game week 33 free transfer. Yeah. So, I mean, if I'm looking at midfielders from these two, I'm not. I've already got Fraser. No intention of adding Brooks now. I wouldn't personally be considering Almiron for the 1 week punt now. So
sorry, I just said that the Newcastle away at Leicester, that's 34. I meant they're home at Palace in 33.
Oh, even more. You fucked it up already.
Well, even more reason a home fixture for Rondon potentially that could be.
You can look at both of these for 33 if you're on the chunky chip strategy, I think. But
but there's a handful from either team really.
Let's move on. Neither have got the 32 double, have they?
Burnley 1, Leicester 2. So Maddison comes in with a goal. Wes Morgan's unexpected. Tielemans has been picking up returns, bits and bobs. I still don't think that there's enough there to justify.
He looks a good footballer, Tielemans.
Oh yeah, I mean, this whole generation of Belgians that have come through are decent, right?
I think a lot of people will be. So Leicester play Huddersfield in 33, and again, obviously, neither of these two double in 32. I think a lot will be looking West Ham moves to Leicester. So I mean, Vardy. I don't know if you could get up to that. No. I think a lot would look Anderson to Maddison. Yeah. I think that's probably forefront of my thoughts.
It's another decent.
Despite the fact they're away to Huddersfield, the link between Maddison and Vardy is looking better by the week at the moment under Rodgers. And obviously, this is a great result. They played the whole game with 10 men.
Yeah.
I saw, shout out to our friend Andy at Let's Talk FPL.
FPL, yeah.
Did you see what he did?
Nah, I didn't see
so
that.
he took a hit about 2 minutes before the deadline to get Schindler out.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't comfortable having him away to West Ham.
Fair play. We did score 4.
That's true. But Schindler obviously didn't play anyway. It was
Yeah.
the first game. I think it was first or second game he missed all season. Obviously, he took the hit for Harry Maguire, didn't he?
Ouch.
Yeah, as you do.
That's a big hit. Painful.
Shit happens, right?
Yeah,
We've all been there.
is.
We've all had a shit week.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Burnley, this is a disastrous result on the off FPL for a second.
They've slipped a little, haven't they? All
they
of a
had a
sudden?
great run, and the fixtures are now getting harder, and it's only them really that you can see Cardiff catching now, I think.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that.
They're in trouble. So obviously, we've got to go through 32 where, all right, Cardiff have got 2 ridiculously difficult fixtures. It's just Chelsea and Man City. They'll be fine.
Yeah.
But they'll play twice before Burnley go again. Cardiff pick up anything. That becomes squeaky when obviously Burnley go to Bournemouth in 33. I don't think you're looking at Burnley for that fixture away at Bournemouth if you're on that strategy.
You'd still favour Burnley over Cardiff. If I think the experience will probably tell.
Cardiff have got a horrendous run as well. They've both got difficult fixtures for the remainder. I do think that Burnley will stay up ahead of Cardiff. But what was difficult for Burnley is they've obviously had those 8 games unbeaten. Yeah. And they still never got out of it.
No.
They were still always in it. And now they've had a couple of shit results.
It was people like West Ham and Tottenham that were helping them along by like losing to,
as we do,
stupid teams that we shouldn't be losing to, like Cardiff and who did you lose?
You lost to both of them, didn't you?
Yeah.
We lost to Burnley.
Yeah. So we're there was a point coming off topic where when we were losing 3-1 to Huddersfield. And I was thinking, how many teams have done the double over us this season? and all the ones that have are not like top 6 or what have you. It's all everyone in and around us. And I was like kicking myself and everything around me actually at that point. But it's going to be tough for Burnley. Still not looking at any of them for FPL.
I think what you were suggesting is that Burnley and Cardiff might be all right because they haven't got to play West Ham again.
Yeah, well, we're giving away points for free.
Or my team, in fairness.
True. So, should we move on?
Yeah.
West Ham 4, Huddersfield 3.
Talk to me.
Very, very emotional game in the ground. You know, when up to 75 minutes, it was getting progressively worse and worse and worse in terms of an atmosphere.
Is it hostile?
Because we were awful.
Was it hostile?
Yeah. It progressively was getting worse.
How did you get in that state?
What, to be 3-1 down? No urgency and no pace in the game. We were just very, very slow and very lethargic. Huddersfield, as you'll notice, again, I mean, we only beat them by 1 goal. All season, haven't been getting smashed week in, week out.
No.
It's 1s and 2s. So they were very organised. The first half, they had 2 or 3 chances and they scored from set pieces. Sloppy defending. You can't leave players unmarked in the middle of the box, right? Free header from a corner, whatever. That's just sloppy defending. There was a real sigh of relief when Noble's penalty went in. And I think it was very similar to the Newcastle game where we got ahead early and it was like, okay, well, now that we're ahead, we can just knock it around and we'll be all right against these. And it wasn't like that. And they went 2-1 up and then we just lacked urgency and lacked pace and we were just not moving it around quickly. There were so many times where we'd get into the final third and then no one in the box or final delivery was crap. And then second half, we made a couple of changes and we just pushed bodies forward. So whereas in the first half, there was no one in the box, second half, you'd have 3 or 4 people in the box, Chicharito, Arnie, whoever. But the final ball was rubbish and what have you. And you could see them scoring on the break because they were creating chances. That goal, Carlin Grant's goal, I just want to call him Callum because it's just so much easier. Carlin Grant's goal was a beauty. You could see it coming because they were on it, but no, take nothing away. He hit that sweet, perfect. And at that point, that's when you know the atmosphere is like, look, we're better than this. And when you've got Anderson, Nasri, Lanzini, Chicharito, Arnautovic as your front 5 against Huddersfield, you're like, for fuck's sake, you've got to do better than this. That front 5 should be doing better than that.
Well, no shit, Sherlock.
And then it changed in the 75th minute. When we got the second goal, there was only one team going to win it from there. Although Huddersfield did have a couple of chances, then it was just literally wave after wave of attack and pressure, and only one team was going to win it from there.
Just quickly on Huddersfield, because I know you'll probably want to go in a bit more into Arnautovic and Anderson. Talk to me about Grant, because our Huddersfield correspondent, FPL Terrier, tipped him up in his article a couple of weeks ago and said, honestly, he wasn't suggesting go and buy him, but he did say, like, keep an eye on this fella. He might be the one. And he'd scored goals for Charlton at League One. What did you think of him?
Good player. I think good player. When I feel for Huddersfield, they're not the worst side to ever go down with this kind of stupid points haul, because they were organised, and it was just firepower at the end. We just piled bodies forward, and it was just we overwhelmed them into defeat. But they were, on the day, probably played a much more organised, better game, and he gave them options. He was making runs, getting in behind, had a few chances. What's he priced at in FPL? I haven't even looked.
It's just 5.
It's not a bad shout, although I don't think you can look at Huddersfield, really.
There are some that will free hit in 33. We know that. It's not going to be a large portion, but there are quite a few people who are thinking of that free hit 33. Is he a consideration as a third forward for that at home to Leicester?
Yeah, I don't see why not. He scored at home the other week, and or was that home or away? His first goal, I think it was at home.
Was it assist against Wolves? They don't score often, mate. I don't know why I can't remember this.
No, it's true.
I think they've scored about 33% of their goals this year against you, haven't they?
Yeah, no, it wouldn't surprise me. So yeah, I mean, yeah, he is a consideration. Good player, decent buy, I think, for them.
Yeah, I think that's one to watch.
But I'm not really looking at any Huddersfield players.
Although he did come off injured, didn't he?
Yeah.
Tell the listeners briefly about, because there's a lot going to carry Anderson and Arnautovic.
Assist, you were right on Grant.
Of course.
I mean, Anderson, again, it wasn't on TV, so he didn't perform particularly well.
That ain't made no fucking difference.
He was a lot better.
Mate.
He was a lot better in the last 20 minutes. He was picking the ball up and running at pace. But over the course of the match, I mean, 7.2 million, he isn't worth it in FPL. If you're going to move away from Anderson, wouldn't be a problem. Snodgrass lost his place to Antonio, who was also trying to make runs and was doing okay, but it wouldn't surprise me if Anderson got dropped back for Snodgrass coming back into the team. It wouldn't surprise me at all. Having said that, I mean, who knows? We've got so many options there. Who knows who we'll start with?
Is there, beyond those that you've got in your team, so Fabianski as well for quite a few might have picked up, say, Declan Rice now. Beyond that Chelsea game, is there any reason to have any West Ham players in your squad between game weeks 34 and 38?
So we've got Leicester, Everton at home is the 33.
That's in the double.
Oh, sorry, that's in 35. So we're away.
It's in 32, Everton, isn't it? It's 5:30 game.
The 30th of November, yeah. Sorry, yeah, in game week 30.
November?
March. Sorry, because
I've
I've only got one. I'm only going to the Leicester home game now for the rest of the season. That's
you bottled it already, nothing to do. This fucking fair weather prick.
Trust me, I've got to go to a family doing Leicester on for the Everton home game, and it's not even my family; it's my wife's side of the family, and I can't get out of that. And I'm going to Amsterdam for the last home game of the season, Southampton, again for one of her friends' birthdays. So
I'd be having words, mate.
Yeah.
Your brother, was it your brother went to Man United? Maybe he can have your ticket.
Yeah, he normally does. Let's see. So I'm only at the Leicester home game, but we've got Spurs away.
Yeah.
We've got United away, and they're not going to be easy games. And the last game of the season, Watford away, which again is not going to be an easy game. So no, it's the honest answer.
Fair enough.
I don't think so. I can't see it. And I mean, the fellas sitting behind me were moaning about why can we not get up for games like Huddersfield, but we can get up for the big games. But it is hard sometimes when you're in that mid-table no man's land. I'm not justifying it. I'm not looking for excuses, but it is hard for a lot of teams. You've seen it, Everton's and Leicester's of the world. You've got nothing to play for. It is hard week in, week out. I don't know if people will think I'm mad, but I honestly think that
Leroy Sane will be the top scorer in double game week 32.
We'll talk about him because there's plenty of questions about Leroy Sane and whether or not I'm still locked in his basement. I like the balance and the depth that we have in the West Ham squad right now. It's probably one of the best squads in recent times that we've had across the pitch. So as annoying as it is...
I don't know why I'm nodding. I'm just nodding at this.
No, you don't agree?
Not really, mate. No, I think like the Payet team, I know he carried a lot of it.
He carried a lot of it. I mean, we've got strength in depth.
It was a good season. The last season at Upton Park was
We've
good
got
for you,
strength in depth in midfield. We've got options. I think we've got one of the best squads that we've had in recent times. And it's not saying a lot, but it makes you wonder how much of it is down to. So when we're not getting up for games like Huddersfield and Cardiff away, how much of that is down to the manager?
Yeah, I'd fancy him to be first to be sacked next season.
Really?
I'm just a wind-up merchant.
Oh,
It saved this. Pellegrini first manager sacked next season.
Yeah, I do wonder how much of it is down to the manager. Give Pep West Ham, right, with the players that we have, where would he get us in the table? It's a genuine question.
What, with the same squad?
Same squad right here, right now.
Seventh.
We're 9th right now.
7th.
You don't think higher? See, with Bilic, we've got that little bit
on
higher,
a serious,
up to 5th.
With Guardiola, are we ever going to find out? Would he ever test himself in that sort of way?
No.
Would be great, wouldn't it, if he went and took over at Everton in a couple of years?
We could do with one more striker, I think, another striking option, because Lucas Perez coming off the bench doesn't fill you with the most confidence. But we've got attacking midfielders, we've got defensive midfielders, we've got defenders, we've got a goalkeeper and a sub-goalkeeper. They're all capable of putting in good performances. So it's interesting. We could talk too much about West Ham.
Yeah,
Let's talk about Fulham 1, Liverpool 2. That Fulham goal was
a fucking disaster.
Fucking annoying because you were doubled up, I was doubled up. Yeah. Plenty were doubled up. And obviously Mane goal and assist, and we're sitting on Salah, and quite a few people had wisely moved over to Sadio Mane. But just that goal, hearing Babel score, was like the kick in the nuts that reconfirmed that this was going to be a shit game week.
Yeah, it's summed up by the fact that the player that clearly deserves to win Footballer of the Year has played his part in an absolute fucking rick there in the worst game week of the season.
And what, they still got 3 points and they're still marching on the top of the table. So it didn't affect them.
At 1-1, I wasn't convinced that they were going to win it. They weren't great at all.
Yeah, but sign of champions, potential champions, that you do still win games in that way.
Yes.
Very much so. So, I mean, Liverpool... Now, this is the conundrum when you've got a team like Liverpool and then you've got a double game week where they don't have the double fixture. What do? Do you keep one? Do you keep two? Or do you try and go all in on double game week players? Liverpool's game next week is...
Spurs, mate.
Spurs at home, which is the late kickoff on Sunday.
I think those who have got Liverpool ownership and are carrying through into 32, there's no need to panic. You just play them.
In 32.
Yeah.
So if you're free hitting, but I'm talking about if you're free hitting in 32, you're going to have any Liverpool?
No.
No, me neither. Despite it being a home game, despite them not losing at Anfield.
Look, I said a couple of weeks ago, I can't foresee any reason why, in all seriousness, Liverpool won't beat us in 32, in game week 32. It's a 4:30 on a Sunday. It'll basically be nearly night time. I think the atmosphere will be pretty hot, especially assuming City win at Fulham on the Saturday lunchtime before, or even more so if they don't. So, yeah, I mean, I'd be delighted to get anything at Anfield in that particular game. Liverpool, it just, fair credit to them, they're just chundering along a little bit at the moment. And partly because of Salah's form, I think, which has taken away from the explosiveness. I mean, for us as FPL owners of Salah, who had the most shots at the weekend?
Salah.
Comfortably. Alexander-Arnold is in your team, in my team.
Yeah.
4 more crosses than anybody else at the weekend.
Yeah.
Andrew Robertson into untold good positions. How many shots Mane have Sunday?
2.
1.
Oh, really? I thought it was 2, but there you go. 1.
So, but that said, despite those stats of Mane having 4 shots more than Mane, Mane throughout the game looked the bigger threat. When Salah was getting in positions on Sunday, you never thought like he was going to score.
Mane's on a great run at the moment, isn't he? So
yeah. And those who got in 5-6 game weeks ago well done, because they've been the real big winners over the last few game weeks. You can't really believe that Salah's had 1 goal and 1 assist in 8 games.
No. Let's talk
and
about...
after game week 33, I'm bombing that fucker out. He's got to go.
He's going
seriously.
as well in mine, yeah.
But I'm obviously going to be running through to 33. I'm not making that change.
Yeah, he's not moving now, for sure.
And I'll probably captain him as well, the fucker.
Yeah. I don't know what to make of Everton 2, Chelsea 0. Like, the first half, Chelsea were all on it. Hazard playing well, hit the post. I was thinking, right, okay, come on, Chelsea, because I had Hazard.
Well, yeah, I was thinking, come on, Everton.
Yeah, of course, but I'm not in that Champions League mindset.
No,
that
you were
are.
thinking we might catch Everton here, is what you were thinking.
Well,
or are you above them?
I think
you
we're
are.
above Everton, mate.
Yeah, well done.
So it's Everton, obviously, fans are probably thinking, here we go again. These guys are duking it out for just pissing off their fans the most, aren't they? It's like, hold my beer. Chelsea were like, we can piss our fans off more, and Everton
Do you
like,
know
hold my
that
beer.
Jordan Pickford is now the second
I
highest?
heard this.
Yeah.
I heard this.
The
I saw
second
on
highest scoring
Twitter.
FPL goalkeeper at this stage of the season.
And he's been responsible for some howlers this
They have
season.
now kept consecutive home clean sheets against Liverpool and Chelsea.
Mm-hmm.
In game week 33, they host Arsenal.
You're not convinced that those two statements don't convince me that they're going to keep Arsenal out.
Oh, no, you still ain't fucking buying them. I'm just telling you the truth. There's nothing more to it.
These are just
than
random
that.
facts that you're stringing together.
Chelsea massively disappointed. Everton came out like a different team second half and decided, oh, well, fuck it, it's 0-0. We're still in it. We'll have a go here, and started to get in Chelsea's face. And the problem for Chelsea is the same all the time. If they concede first, they're in trouble. It's the same. I mean, Higuain, the longer the game goes on, the less effective he looks. But you did think, fucking put Giroud up front with it.
Yeah.
Like, seriously. You know they're susceptible to balls in the box, Everton. Chelsea did nothing second half.
Yeah,
Nothing.
I mean, they probably started Yerry Mina to try and give them that height at the back.
Well, Zuma was ineligible.
Yeah, against his parent club. But I think Mina would have helped, but probably get himself booked again. Chelsea have a double, though, and you're piling into 2 or 3 for a free hit.
So
I'm not too dissimilar.
I've obviously played Luiz and Higuain in 31. I think Hazard is an easy add for 32. I'm not sure on Luiz. I think Azpilicueta is the safest Chelsea defender to go to, but essentially I've got Luiz in my team at 5.5. I'm going to be paying an extra 0.8 is it for Azpilicueta? I think that's a lot of money on a free hit team that I can be using somewhere else. I might just take the chance on Luiz still. Higuain, I'm not sure about, but I think I will have him. I think Hazard's a must.
Yeah. So quick wrap up there. I mean, the problem was on Saturday that there were no clean sheets to be had. So your defensive points are all out the window. If anyone was piling in defensively anywhere as a West Ham, we conceded 3 for fuck's sake. So there was no defensive points. It doesn't surprise me that there were no defensive points elsewhere, but I would have thought I hope for a 4-0 win at home. I got half of that score right, but the other half was garbage. And then again on the Sunday, the only clean sheet points were from Everton of all people. So that's 4 or 5 of your players not in point scoring territory. None of the big boys delivered.
Well, Dickhead here went with a back 5, and I think I'm going to have a back 5 again in 33.
Yeah.
Who would you play in 33? Metham or Anderson? Bournemouth at home to Burnley or West Ham away to Chelsea?
Anderson.
Really?
Anderson, yeah.
I ain't convinced. I'm a bit sick of that prick
Yeah,
as well.
I mean, it's not exactly like you're giving me the best choice in the world there.
No, it's true.
And so we go on to game week 32. So now double game week. All the fixtures have been confirmed. Now...
this is where Suj gets stuck.
We've got 5 extra matches. So we've got 10 potential teams to pick from that have double game weeks. And of those 10, you've got 4 out of the top 6, United, City, Chelsea, Spurs, closely followed by 7th and 8th, Watford and Wolves, who have players that are worth it. So on paper, you'd be like, okay, I've got 6 out of the top 8 teams with a double game week. Off we go. Having said that, not all of the there's very few teams that have 2 tasty fixtures. So running in negatives order. Cardiff have Chelsea at home, City away.
Yeah. Well, no, not true.
Right.
There's a few that you can use here on your free hit. So Peltier's 3.9. That's
Okay.
perfect for your bench, isn't it?
Yeah.
And he's been playing lately. If you need that little bit more, there's Conley's 3.8. He never plays, but he's 3.8. You don't need a full play. If you're on your free hit, you don't
You want
need a full
11.
playing sub.
You want 11 on the pitch. and
My
you want 3.
advice on that would be definitely have a playing defender.
Yeah.
Would be my advice on the bench, and possibly a playing midfielder as.
But you're
or
going
forward
in
as well.
3-4-3, right?
You don't need 3.
You're going 3-4-3.
I would have thought so.
Me too. So you're going to end up with 2 defenders on your bench, both playing, or one playing, one fodder.
One fodder, I think. Yeah.
So-
But I mean, Peltier is nearly. If you're having Peltier on
the
your
middle
bench,
ground, isn't he?
and he's got Chelsea at home and Man City away, he possibly is fodder as well, right?
Yeah.
So you never know your luck. I don't see where else you could look at them. Would you think, Camarasso, if they pick up a pen, he's back fit? No. Next.
Not with the other options available.
Etheridge, to be fair, is an option as a goalkeeper. Just on save bonuses, we saw that again. Chelsea lost 2-0. Kepa gets 11 points. The fuck is that, man?
Nah. Fulham, Man City at home, and Watford away.
Defensively, yeah. That's one I definitely wouldn't look at the goalkeeper. Chambers played deeper at the weekend back at centre half. He's probably the best of the bunch at 4.2. Babel's worth considering, I think.
Would you start him, though, if you picked Babel? That's the only thing.
Not necessarily.
Those fixtures, City at home, Watford away. Watford are tough.
Yeah, but
too tough,
that's the midweek fixture before the semi-final. Now, admittedly, there's 5 days between Watford and Wolves doubles and their cup semi on the Sunday, so I don't know what that means for rotation or lack of. I think Babel's considering, and actually as a budget one to sit on the bench, 4.3 Ayite scored at Leicester and started at the weekend. And if you want a fodder sitting there, you're not going to get too much cheaper than that. Mitrovic, I would not consider
No.
at the moment. Looks disinterested to me.
Brighton. Now, Brighton are the other team on my list at the moment. Southampton at home, Chelsea away. 2 fixtures there.
Now, Brighton are fascinating because we know that the additional Cardiff fixture is now in game week 34.
Yep.
So they have 6 fixtures in the next 4 game weeks. Obviously, a blank in 33, but then doubles 32, 34, 35.
Doesn't change anything. I'm not considering any of their players.
Why not?
Who would you go for?
Well, we probably wouldn't on the free hit necessarily, with
No.
Chelsea away being the second game. But I think for those that have planned towards 32, you really got to look at them now.
Yeah.
You can't ignore the fact that they're going to have 3 doubles in 4 game weeks.
No.
So Matt Ryan, I absolutely know is going to be coming in on my wild card in 34. I'm 99% certain of that. Duffy, Dunk, I'd seen quite a few who are part jesting and part being serious about triple captain Shane Duffy in game week 34. So if you're wild carding in 32, and then you're going to bench boost 35, you've got to potentially be looking at 3 Brighton, haven't you?
Yep.
The interesting one from the Millwall game was, unlike in the previous rounds, he only made 1 change. That might give us a clue now towards the starting line. Stevens is one. Dale Stevens, who's you can use as a fodder. I would say
He's very well priced, Dale Stevens.
4.3. Glenn Murray. Do you take
Murray.
the chance? The problem with Murray, Mince, is will he play twice?
Nah. Well, that's the thing. That is the problem, right? I don't know.
But the other thing, Brighton, that's positive to their obviously playing in 32 before the semi-final, unlike Watford and Wolves, like Brighton need points. And they won't want to get beat at home to Southampton before they go to Chelsea, knowing that's going to put them in an ugly, awkward position. That 34 double is Bournemouth at home and Cardiff at home.
2 decent home ties. We know that Brighton are good at home. For that game week 34, potentially, but I suppose I'm looking very specifically at game week 32. And for me, they're not going to be a consideration.
If I said to you now, game week 34, Brighton have Bournemouth at home and Cardiff at home, and Spurs are at home to Huddersfield, and you've got Glenn Murray and Harry Kane in your team, who are you sticking the armband on?
Harry Kane.
See, that's my initial thought as well.
Tried and trusted.
That's my initial thought.
Tried and trusted. Harry Kane.
But I think there's definitely clean sheets in there. Like Duffy, Ryan Dunk.
Home,
could
I
get
trust
doubles.
them a little bit more at home.
Bernardo, who FPL Seagull tells us all the time is the best left back there, 4.2. It's another budget filly you can have in there. Toya at right back's cheap. Gross being fit would be handy.
Interesting to see. Yeah,
They're definitely one to watch. And I think we talk about Brighton a bit more next week as well.
So then moving down, I'm going to run through some of these fixtures and then we'll look team by team, shall we? Watford, Man United away and then Fulham at home. That Fulham at home fixture looks particularly tasty, but Watford like to get in amongst them. So the United away fixture, they could give them a bit of trouble. Wolves, Man United at home and then Burnley away. They've just beaten United at home.
Other way around, Burnley away first.
Yeah, Burnley away's first, sorry. I haven't put them in fixture order. But Man United at home, they've just beaten. And Wolves are a decent side. Away at Burnley will be a little bit tougher, maybe. I don't know. So on paper, yeah, happy to go Wolves. The fixtures, I think, they're not the best. They'd probably be what colour were they on the FPL when they're like mid-tier?
Yellow.
Yellowy. They go from like red,
yellow.
dark red. Isn't it green and light green? Is there a yellow one?
Oh, you're talking about the FDRs.
FDR thing, yeah. Whatever colour the middle one is, that's what it'd kind of be.
You'd have a green and a red, I think.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you? Yeah.
United home to Watford, away at Wolves. I mean, you'd expect them to win fixtures like that, but they ain't easy. These are two good teams. Chelsea have probably a decent two fixtures. Cardiff away, Brighton at home. You're going to be wanting to steam into those. City, Fulham away, Cardiff at home. You're steaming into those. Spurs, tough away fixture at Liverpool, and Palace at home. London derby's never easy. You had a difficult game at theirs. I can't see that being easy. I'm not considering Spurs defensively from that point of view. And then you got Palace, Huddersfield at home, looks pretty tasty. Spurs away. Whilst I think you'll give them they'll give you a tough game, it doesn't fill me with the most confidence to pile in on them. So there's a mixed kind of bag across if you look at it. So let's assume City and Chelsea all in.
And Palace, obviously, Huddersfield at home and Spurs away.
That's what I just said. Sorry.
Oh, did you? Sorry.
Yeah. So Huddersfield at home, I like.
Yeah,
Spurs away.
I've seen a lot of free
They'll give
hit
you a good
teams.
game, but-
Seen a lot of free hit teams with like Wan-Bissaka and Schlupp or Van Arnholt. A lot.
I would look at
Not Van Arnholt so
Zaha and
Batshuayi.
but
Batshuayi's in a lot of free hit
He's
teams.
cheap.
I've seen Milivojevic in a few.
yeah, I definitely would.
MacArthur is someone I'd consider is so cheap, 4.8 regularly.
He was
plays.
in your
in
draft.
my initial draft. Yeah, I stuck him in.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you want to start with?
Okay, so City.
So for those planning through, who have free hit in 31, this is triple captain time. It's Aguero. It's Aguero or Sterling. Take your
Who
pick.
don't have any other, who are not playing another chip.
And obviously, if you haven't spunked it up the wall on Leroy Sané, or already got the gains off Aguero,
Yeah.
I think if you were planning towards a double, this is as good as it's going to look. Yes, of course, there's the rotation problem, but I would suggest with Brighton in the semi-final, 3 days before the first Champions League quarter-final against Spurs, that City will not come off the gas for Fulham and Cardiff.
Mm-hmm.
I really think they'll go quite strong in both games. It's unlikely, but it could yet come to goal difference, right?
Yeah.
I really think if Aguero is almost certainly my captain, not triple captain in the game, and my advice would be go all in on him. I really think that.
Interestingly, looking the defensively from my point of view, from the way I'm, so Ederson, Laporte, and Leroy Sané. As I'm moving my budget around, I think defensively that's where I've got some safe bets there. I don't trust any of the others defensively, so I'm thinking I trust Spurs from an attacking point of view more than defensively. So I think City I trust more defensively. So I'm thinking Ederson and Laporte are my two at the back, and then Leroy Sané. But actually, maybe not even Leroy Sané, and not because I don't love the guy, because he could come over here and give me a hug right now. I can't afford him, so David Silva may be my option. So I may end up with David Silva, Laporte, and Ederson being my 3 City players. That's how it's looking in my current free hit team.
Say that again.
David Silva, Laporte, and Ederson.
So you would have neither Aguero or Sterling?
As it stands.
Wow. Really?
But then my front line, I'm going with Harry Kane as my premium striker, Jimenez and Rashford.
And you still ain't got the money for Sterling.
No, unless I got rid of Hazard. So my midfield was Son, Silva, Pogba, and Eden Hazard.
This podcast has been decommissioned, mate.
So yeah, I'm not looking at Raheem. I'm looking at where am I going to get? Who do I trust defensively, and who do I trust attacking?
Sterling's not a
points.
definite for me. Aguero really is.
You think so?
Yeah.
Look, I could easily downgrade Harry Kane to Aguero because you haven't got Kane, right? So in your team, and there's just as much chance. Harry Kane can fucking do what Harry Kane does. You love him more than anyone. So at the moment, that's where it is. I've got options to play it around. And I'm not saying there's a right or wrong, but...
Yeah, but yours is wrong.
You don't think going with a...
You've got to have one of those two, surely. So, I mean, as you would stand now, who you captain in that double game with?
I hadn't looked at it. Is the honest answer. I'd laid my team up.
I'd worry about you.
Possibly Eden
Kane.
Hazard.
Eden Hazard.
Or Harry Kane. One of the two, Hazard or Kane.
It's going to come back and hurt you, that, mate.
Maybe, maybe not.
On the defensive, and one thing is really important to note, David Silva I do like as a shout, by the way. He's obviously not going to the internationals.
8 million, 8
so
point
should play in the two. Bernardo Silva's well favoured. But the other City problem is coming out the other side of these internationals. Mendy, De Bruyne, Fernandinho, they're all close.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck does that mean? You think Fulham and Cardiff, perfect time to give them minutes, isn't it, to get them back? Otamendi's has pulled out of the Argentina squad. Now, that would be handy to know that it probably is going to be Laporte and Stones for those two games. And then that's interesting. I think a lot of people will go to Edison because it's safe, and I'm not saying that I won't either, by the way. I'd like to go for Laporte, and I think if Otamendi's definitely out, I'd feel comfortable going that way.
I'm looking at Laporte. So, look, if I end up with one City defensively and I end up going for Aguero, so Silva, Laporte or Edison and Aguero, it could easily happen, and I could pick up Danny Rose or Trippier or whatever. Money's never an issue because City players are the creme de la creme in terms of price, right? So let's talk about Chelsea. You've gone spread across David Luiz, Eden Hazard and Higuain.
Hazard's definite. I think I've got to. David Luiz is a little concerning because I know, again, the fact that their fixtures are weak leads me to think that Christensen could play in one of those two games, which is annoying. Higuain, I like the fact he's playing two shit teams. I wouldn't fucking consider him if he wasn't playing two shit teams. Higuain is well capable of hauling a Cardiff away and Brighton at home. Does he play both games? I don't know. Obviously, if Higuain was to be sacrificed from my team, I would find a way to have Kane and Aguero with Rashford. Yeah. I'm not as keen on Kane as others are, and we'll come back onto that. Defensively, I think Azpilicueta is the safest choice. I've seen a lot of teams with sort of Azpilicueta and Luiz or Rudiger or Azpilicueta and Kepa in their setups at the moment. I think that's fine. I think Kante is someone you can really consider as an enabler to sort of fit in them big hitters. He'll play twice, he's 5 million. If he gets you a goal in one of those two, you're fucking laughing, that'll do you.
Yeah, I mean, if you're sitting on your bench, it doesn't help though.
The Pedros, the Williams.
Rotation. It's a risk, isn't it?
You can't. You must have been out when you saw Alonso play at the weekend. You must have thought, oh, fuck. Because you left him in your team, probably thinking he wasn't going to play.
No, I thought he was going to play.
That 0 went well. He was lucky not to be sent off.
I thought he was going to play. I mean, bring on game week 34 so he can leave my squad. That's all I can say about Alonso. It's been weeks now, I've been waiting. But I just can't justify...
These pricks that are still in my team for 33, I can assure you, they'll be gone before they even kick off at 33. They'll all be gone.
Yeah. Wild card, bring it on. So Chelsea is an interesting one. It's obviously they've got good fixtures. It's where do you go? And Higuain and Hazard are pretty much the most nailed on starters, and then
Hazard hat-trick, if it makes you feel better. Hazard's hat-trick against Cardiff early in the season also scored at the Amex. You'd settle for the 4 goals again, wouldn't you?
You'd take it.
Yeah, I think Hazard, yeah. Also, just the note on Chelsea, obviously, good Europa League draw. I think that's really important for the upcoming weeks. So they've got Slavia Prague, which is the weakest team left in by a distance, in my opinion. First leg away as well. Now, after 32, they don't play you till the Monday night. So there's nice space in there as well. So they play Sunday, Wednesday, and there's a break. So there's not really too much excuse for them not to go full strength. But I think the fact that the fixtures are really weak is a little concerning. If they were playing if they were playing Watford and Wolves, for example, I think they'd pick the same team in both games. Near enough. Obviously, Willian and Pedro won each.
Speaking of Watford and Wolves, Manchester United are playing both those two.
Yes.
I don't know. I was very bullish on Man United all the way up to the last couple of game weeks, and they've just gone off the boil, and I'm not going into these fixtures as confident as I potentially was originally. Watford are a big, strong team. They like to bully other teams and get in amongst them. And Wolves are a decent football inside. They've proved it again. I did like Diogo Jota's goal was brilliant. But when he...
both goals, him and his two goals as well.
Yeah, he did. Jota's, the thing is that I didn't think he was going to score. When he got into that shooting position, I thought it was a bit hard as a finish, but then he just rifled it. I thought, fucking great goal.
Romero could have done better.
Yeah, I'm sure he could have, but at that point...
he actually played quite well, Romero.
Where you think he probably won't score from there and then hits it like that, then I think, all right, fair play. Doff my cap, sir. So what Man United's games are tough. How many United players do you think you're going to carry? Well, you've carried Rashford and Pogba through.
So they're in, aren't they?
And so have I. But free hit, you can get rid of them.
I've seen Lukaku's going for a scan. So he might even be out the double game week. I've seen a lot of free hit teams with Lukaku in it. And I'll be honest, I don't understand it.
Yeah, me neither. He's too expensive.
Well, it's not a case of that. I just think the price comparison to Lukaku and Rashford is so vast.
Massive.
It just gives you 3 million for someone else. I don't really know why people have considered that. He's obviously been on good form, hasn't he? He scored 4 and 2 or 6 in 3 before the Arsenal game.
Yeah.
But Watford and Wolves don't strike me as fixtures where he's going to be bullying teams.
No, but United just as easily could start.
But it looks like he might be out anyway. I think Rashford is so well prized. I think a lot of free hit teams will end up with Rashford, Jimenez, Aguero. I think that will be a lot of the front threes and the free hitters. If you've carried that through, really well done. You'll be delighted.
Luke Shaw, 5.1.
Yeah, no, I spoke to you about this off air. Now, I was convinced...
yellow cards or some nonsense.
Someone please tweet me and clear this up, because depending on where you look, I thought the amnesty for yellow cards ended technically this weekend, so for the doublers, the majority last weekend. So I thought after Shaw didn't get booked to Arsenal, he was safe. But there are other reports now that the booking in 32 does still count. So if someone can clear that up, I'd be really grateful. As far as I was concerned, it was over and he's fine now. But obviously, make sure you check that out because he's on the 9 yellows. Make sure you...
Yeah, and a 2-game ban is not what you want.
No, definitely not. I think defensively, it's Lindelof or Smalling if you're going down that route. Other than... if Shaw's available, it's fine. My instinct, if the money's available, go for Smalling. I just think there's a greater chance there of the... And maybe it's part haunted myself. No, I think it was top scorer in the first double last year, game week 34, I think, when he scored at Bournemouth.
Yeah.
He's a greater attacking threat than Lindelof for sure.
Correct.
So if you can afford the extra, go the extra. And also, Smalling won't play for England because Gareth Southgate likes footballers in his back four, apparently, or back three. So he gets the break. So there's no reason to think that he'll miss out. Whereas Lindelof, obviously, will play for Sweden. And I've also heard a rumour, FPL Dave tweeted it yesterday, he got it from somewhere else, that his missus is pregnant as well, which is about 38 weeks.
Oh, okay.
That might be something to watch out for as well.
Yep.
So I'd favour Smalling to be on the safe side there if it's affordable. Pogba and Rashford is... I don't really think what else you're looking for from the attacking point of view.
No, agreed.
Pogba's underwhelmed lately, obviously playing in a deeper position. I think if Lukaku's out, I think that helps.
Yeah, it pushes him further forward maybe.
I think so.
Yeah. Spurs. Everyone's going to want to know your take on Spurs. Liverpool away and Palace at home. So Palace is not the first home game, is it? Brighton or is Palace?
Palace is the first home game.
Under the lights at the new Shite Hart Lane or whatever it's called.
Go back to your shopping centre.
Yeah. So, interesting quiz question for you, and I'll tell you why I know this in a second.
Go on.
What is the name of your mascot at the ground?
It's Chirpy.
Chirpy the cockerel. I did my son's homework with him over the week. He had to do a show and tell or like some presentation in class. and he decided that he wanted to do it on football teams' nicknames and their mascots. So we did 10 different football teams, and one of them was Chirpy. There's a really, really fucking funny YouTube video that I'll send it to you. You might want to tweet. So Chirpy used to be a white cockerel, and then he turned dark, and then he became a black cockerel. And there's this video about how Chirpy turned to the dark side and became this evil cockerel instead of a good cockerel, which is really weird. But he's got a really scary face.
Can I tell you something that's a true story?
Tell me.
I actually met Chirpy about, probably 13, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
In a pub called Queen's in Cruchons. You know it?
Okay. I do not.
No, it's Crouch End for
Crouch
the real
End.
listeners. And it turns out it was a girl, and I spent most of the night chatting her up unsuccessfully.
Oh, fair play. She was in the
no, she
costume?
wasn't in the pub in Crouch End. She was like, someone said, she wears a suit. So Chirpy was a girl.
And did you believe her?
Didn't fucking
Like,
matter.
if
I was nearly in love at that point, wasn't I? I had
If I
no
met-
joy
if I met her,
whatsoever.
I'd be like, I don't know if I believe you, yo. Like, okay, what size is the
to be
costume?
fair, Suj, I think she was fucking trying to get rid of me. In fairness.
Yeah, she'd be like, all right, fine. Yeah, I don't wear the suit. Fuck off, mate.
I don't know how we ended up on that.
Chirpy the
Blinded.
cockerel. We were just talking about Shite Hart Lane and cockerels and all the rest of that. So, Spurs.
on White Hart Lane. For the Spurs people in the know and do care about this shit, I'll be live on Twitter in the new stadium on Sunday.
Look forward to it.
Sometime about 1:30.
How long do we have to get down to Chick King before that shit closes down?
We'd be all right
Yeah,
for a little bit, yeah.
maybe next week. Or we'll do a drive-through. Not a drive-through, but we'll do a
It's
film
not
or
drive
something.
through. It's a fucking fried chicken.
Yeah, I know.
shop,
I know.
mate.
We'll take the cameras down. We'll get
Yeah,
Man
we
Child
asked
to video.
Higuain to come with us as well
Chick King.
and talk chunky chips. Spurs,
Come
seriously.
because I want to get Kane.
There's only 3
I miss
players
him.
I would consider, and one fractionally. The player I would fractionally consider is Dele Alli. Son is a consideration, and obviously Kane you have to treat seriously.
I miss him.
I think a lot of people are considering Spurs players more because the Palace game is the first game in the new stadium, and I'm not sure that they would be otherwise. Teams don't always hit the ground running. We know this, right?
Rarely
Who
do
was
they hit
who
the
was the
ground
first player ever to score at the Emirates?
Who was the first player to score at the Emirates? I have no idea,
It
mate.
was Olaf Melberg of Aston Villa. He was the first player ever to score at London Stadium. What tested you now? Mikel Antonio. Moving on. Anyway,
There you go.
and point being, Liverpool is obviously an incredibly difficult game. There will be rotation for sure. I think, but obviously the fullbacks as usual. But obviously the weekend afterwards we don't play. So between Palace on the Wednesday and City on the Tuesday, it's a 6-day break. So no reason not to go fairly full strength. So I think your Sons, your Ericssons, Ali's, they'll play both games. There shouldn't be too much of a problem with that. Spurs' last 5 games against Palace have been 1-0.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's a difficult game for you guys.
I've said this when we played them in the past. It
Yeah.
is always a really tight game.
Roy Hodgson's no mug.
I foresee the game next Wednesday. Of the home games we got left, that's the one I'm most worried about because of the way they can counter-attack with Zaha and Townsend and
Yeah.
Batshuayi now as well. It's the one I'm most concerned about. I'd see it being a tough game. I'd see it being tense because the desperation will be there to win, no doubt. It's going to be a fantastic atmosphere. Palace bring vocal support anyway as well. We know that, so it'd be good for that. I think it'd be a tough game. And I'm not sure. Am I getting Kane in on the assumption, like everybody else, that the guy is going to be shooting from fucking everywhere in that first game in the stadium?
Just to be the first player to score.
He's already claimed it, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Just to be the first. I'm not convinced to go in at all.
But I reckon that there's a large part of your emotional attachment to Spurs in that decision that a lot of people might be.
No, because on my wild card in 34, I'm
Kane is
smashing
in.
into Kane and probably
Kane is
Son as well.
Yeah.
I think defensively is really tough. Like, Alderweireld didn't play at Southampton. There's no explanation. I would advise if you're going for Spurs defensively, obviously Lloris will give you the security. I would go for Vertonghen. He's the best defender, gives the best balance in terms of left-sided centre half.
Yeah, he's not the most attacking threat.
He's also
let's be
been
honest.
he's also been at the club a long time. That would be really harsh if he didn't play the first game in the new stadium.
I think he doesn't give you an attacking threat, mind.
No.
For the price, it's a bit expensive.
No, I agree, but I wouldn't consider Spurs defensively. But if people want to go down that route, because they generally think, it will be like that against Palace, great, get Vertonghen. I don't see why you would look down that route. And there's every chance that I'm not having any Spurs coverage.
Let's talk about Watford and Wolves. Who do you want to talk about? Watford or Wolves?
Either, because they're both a fucking concern, aren't they?
Watford. Man United away, Fulham at home. That's a decent fixture.
Yeah.
And they can go and upset Man United
I just
away.
want to briefly touch on the fact that it's Fulham and not Southampton. There's so many free hit teams the last few days with like Valerie, Ward-Prowse, Bednarek. Yeah, great. We said that it would probably be 35. It just made sense. And even if it had been Southampton in 32, they're playing Liverpool on a Friday night. You were going to have 3 games in 6 days.
Yeah, you don't want that.
Better, the fact that it's Fulham obviously makes you feel more comfortable about Watford.
Delafeu for me is a real
I think so. What I would hope with Delafeu, I think there's an expectation, particularly with Watford, that they'll change their team quite a lot between the 2 games. If you think how much he changed the team that played at City, you asked me if I thought it was a weakened team. I said, no, not really. I think he picked a team to frustrate and cause them issues. And they might do the same at United, having had more success at City than they did at Anfield a couple of weeks earlier. So then does that mean Delafeu doesn't play at Old Trafford? Well, if he gets minutes there and then he's got Fulham at home, I might take that. Because it's enables, doesn't it? Was he 5.3 Delafeu?
He's cheap, 5.2 I think even.
It's 5.3 I think.
Is he 5.3 then?
And a differential, massively.
He is.
He's sitting in my team at the moment because he's close to a rise. I'm very undecided though.
I would have also considered Andre Gray, but...
You're only going to get 1 game, aren't you?
Nah, that's the thing. And he may even come off the bench. There are other options better priced, like Jimenez, Rashford, and so on. So he's out of the running. I think there are defensive options at Watford that you could consider as well. Mariappa 4.2. There's quite a lot of 4.2s and 4.3s and 4.4s.
Mariappa very quietly has got the shirt now and had it for a little while. It's priced at 4.2.
Yeah. Very good price, Mariappa.
The one that I think I will go with Watford is Foster.
Yeah.
Capable of save points in obviously United away game and then the Fulham home game's fine. Obviously Gomez has been playing in the Cup. I'd feel more safer going Foster than Patricio, who's 0.1 cheaper, even though it's similar fixtures basically. Purely because he might give Ruddy another game. He did that a couple of weeks ago when they played Cardiff, Nuno, didn't he? So I think Foster's probably the safer choice there. I'm pretty sure Foster will be my goalkeeper.
And Wolves have Man United at home, who they just beat, and Burnley away. They'll probably find the United game at home a little bit easier than the Burnley game away because they do like to counter-attack and they need space in behind. Having said that, they're both tough games. Raul Jimenez, you'd pick him in any game now, really, wouldn't you?
Oh, yeah, if he's in your squad. I mean, those have carried through Jimenez, Doherty. There's nothing to think about. Just go with it. I think it will be what it will be. Why have you carried through, really? If you're worried, there is every chance that the majority of Wolves' team will be different on the Saturday to the Tuesday. I think a little bit more so than, although it feels like Watford will change more, that fixture they had with Cardiff the other week put on so many doubts about Wolves, particularly in the midfield areas. So for sort of the Neves, Moutinho, where they do have to get through a bit of legwork. I think Dendoncker at 4.3 is a great shout as an enabler. Are they going to play is a concern. I think defensively, it very rarely changes the back three. You can't consider Cody because he'll never get you anything. He'll never get you BPS. They very rarely get a clean sheet. Don't. Bolly might get you something on top.
Bolly's not too bad.
I think I wouldn't go and buy Doherty at his price now or Johnny. I think there's every chance that Vinagre will play one of the games. Who will get left out? There's no idea. Adama Traore played right wing back when they beat Cardiff. Jimenez and Hotter did both play in that Cardiff game though. But that semi-final is so massive for both of those clubs. I think we're guessing. Just a note on Jimenez as well that he'll get back later than any other player from the internationals. It's not a massive issue. They play 2 o'clock in the morning on the Tuesday night / Wednesday morning. Obviously, it's plenty of time till they play on the Saturday, but he'll be the latest back.
Yeah.
So it's worth noting for. And obviously, just on the internationals, do fucking keep an eye. We know there's going to be injuries in the next couple of weeks that are going to fuck everything up. It always happens. Or might make it clearer.
Yeah, you never know. Sometimes it's easier to have a choice.
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, if I had the position where Kane got injured, I don't have to make the choice then.
No.
I really don't fucking want that to happen, by the way. Let's be very clear.
Yeah. I want to touch quickly on double game week 35.
Yep.
Because people will start working towards that. But again, the teams that have decent doubles in 35 are not the teams that have necessarily decent doubles in 32, which turns things a bit on its head. City have United and Spurs. I mean, United away and Spurs
It's
at home.
fixture proof, though, isn't it?
They are. They are, but then who have Liverpool got in 35?
The chances are
Huddersfield, isn't it?
in 35.
Yeah.
No, Cardiff away.
Cardiff away. So you'd almost, it's like for like Liverpool away at Cardiff could do the same damage as maybe a City player in one game or 1.5 games with United and Spurs.
Meh. No, I'd still want the double. I think.
United have got City at home, Everton away.
It's harder.
Yeah. You've got Spurs. Spurs have got Brighton at home, which you like, but then you're away at City. And then up creep Arsenal. Palace at home, Wolves away. Palace at home. I mean, Arsenal at home are bankers, really, aren't they? They're hardly losing games at all.
They're both fixtures though that don't fill you with much, but you'll want Arsenal coverage. I think it depends what they do in Europe as well. I've obviously got a tough tie with Napoli.
Yeah, Watford, Huddersfield, and Southampton.
Yes, please.
Interesting games there. Brighton, Spurs, and Wolves probably not quite difficult.
But you're going to be carrying it by chance, by looks of it, aren't you?
If you're going to pick them up for 34, you may want one.
That's why
two.
That's why I think Ryan is the best Brighton choice. Fucking have to keep with the save points.
Yeah, Southampton, Newcastle, and Watford. I think now Southampton. There's a couple of things that will have an impact. Will they be in that relegation fight, or where will they be? And will they need points? Plus,
both away though as well, aren't they?
They are, but then price point on some players like your Valerie.
Yeah.
Well, Ward-Prowse is coming, and Valerie probably will be coming in as well. Those two are my wild card.
Yoshida's getting no mentions, but has quietly come back into the team. Was very good when we went there. 4.1 comes up with a goal now and again. So I mean, you really could fill your bench with Southampton players. Josh Sims 4.4. I mentioned last week. I don't know if he might get half a shot now. And Danny Ings is close. He's close.
So the thing is that with bench boost, you're looking for 15 playing players as opposed to trying to get 11 and then 4 bench fodder, which you are for the free hit. So different strategy where you're trying to spread your money and make it go a little bit further. And these extra 0.2s and 0.3s to move from a 3.9 to a 4.2, 4.3 all adds up in the end. And then you may have to make compromises elsewhere in your squad.
I'll do a bit more research this before next week and come up with a wild card team for this week, because I know a lot of people obviously are wild carding now and going to sort of free hit 33 and carry through. So I personally, because I know a lot of people have considered the change of instead of free hitting now, wild carding now and then free hit 33, as I said earlier. My major issue with it is you want completely different players for 35 to 32. I don't think there's too many. What do you do with you want to hammer into Chelsea this week, right? No double.
No.
Got Liverpool away the week before. So it's perfect time to wildcard and fuck them off out.
Yeah.
All right, Spurs, you're quite right. City away in 35. But I'll wildcard into them at home to Huddersfield 34 the week before. And then I'll have them for Brighton. And then a decent little run-in with two of the last 3 are at home as well. Wolves and Watford, I'm not overly keen on this week because I just think there are so many rotation questions ahead of that semi-final. But in 35, I like both of their fixtures.
Yep.
And Southampton.
Different teams in consideration for both.
So, interesting how people go and play. There's no doubt on mine, as soon as Man City beat Swansea, there was no doubt it was free hitting. Not a question. I'm
going to be pulling the trigger on my free hit this evening. I'm going to spend some time on it. I think my missus is going out tonight. She is going out tonight. So I've got iPad.
You're not under orders?
Well, I've got to be home by 8. I've got a bit of time, mate. Got a bit of time.
Don't forget to upload the pod.
I'm leaving that with Manchild, the producer, Manchild. Shout out to the Manchild. Twitter questions. We've got a half
Yeah,
hour.
yeah.
We've been doing all right. We've got through the doubles. We've got through the fixtures. And now let's put it to the people.
I'll look next week at a bit more sort of like, so I'll tell you what my ideal free hit would seem. As I said, I'll look into how you might manage in more detail having a wild card. I think, just as a final, but I think those who have carried through to 32, I think some of the fixtures have fallen really nicely. So like Palace now being double.
Yeah.
I think people were looking at Southampton, but not many were carrying Southampton. So I think there's certain things that have worked out. It's going to be a massive week. Forget the shit that's gone. This is the height of FPL season, right? The 2 doubles.
Yeah. Yeah, this is what it's
the most exciting part.
I feel like with my rank, I'm going to be a little bit more risky.
I dropped another 40k, mate.
Yeah.
145 now.
40k, that's what you drop in the strippy at the weekend.
That's thousands, obviously.
Throwing your tenors and your 20s. 40 grand.
We start begging for rank.
That's the action.
I need to hit a big ass green fucking arrow in 32, I know that.
There was someone on Twitter that was saying that they hit 7 in a row and they were approaching Sudge territory. I was like, come on, mate, I've only had 6 in a row, but I've had 8 out of the last 10.
Nice.
Red arrows. So, shall we get into some questions?
Yeah, hit us.
This is coming in from FPL Depression at FPL Depression. Is Sudge considering Sane in on his game week 32 free hit for Cardiff and Fulham, if those are the games, which we now know that they are? So that's also a question that's been asked by a number of other people, whether or not me and Leroy Sane are still in couples counselling. That's from FPL Jim. Whether I've managed to get out of his basement or I'm still there. I have no issue with Leroy Sane. You saw in the Champions League and the Cup. The guy is a beast, yeah. Guy is a beast. My only issue with getting Leroy Sane back in for 32 is going to be on price and whether or not I can afford him. So, yeah, watch this space. There may be Sudge and Leroy Sane coming soon.
Not under consideration for me.
Rotation risk?
Yeah, for me, you'd only have to... I know what you're saying about it. I didn't watch the 7-0 against Schalke. He was pretty special on the night. I just look at his minutes. Look since that Liverpool game, so bizarre that his minutes are just completely tailed off.
Yeah, but is he back in favour now?
Why? Taking off again at the weekend. Why is he back in favour?
I don't know. It's just a question. He did well in the Champions League.
I don't think he is. No, unless I've missed something.
All right. Neil Baxter wants to know, and we spoke about this at the start where you said no, but should we look at any single game week players in 32? And if so, who? Or just load up on double game week players?
The Liverpool and Arsenal can both be looked at. Liverpool, the position they're in, yes, it's against another team in the top 6, but we notoriously don't do well there. So yes, I think, Mane, Robertson, Alexander, if you feel like you've got to have the coverage and maybe block a little bit, because obviously all the teams that are running through are going to have some,
triple,
you would think.
Double or triple,
and
yeah.
I think if you're running through and you're in a position, say you've got Robertson and Mane or something, I'd probably leave it unless I was free hitting. Arsenal... The one benefit that Arsenal have next week is obviously there's no fucking Thursday night game before or after. Obviously go on last on the Monday night and then don't play Everton until the Sunday. So you assume strongest team. The problem with that is we don't really know what that is, if it's a back 4 or a back 5. You assume at the moment...
You know Aubameyang is going to play.
Aubameyang and Lacazette both play.
You're only looking at
Are
Aubameyang.
you going to pick Aubameyang or Lacazette ahead of Kane double, Aguero double, Higuain double? I don't think you can. I mean, Newcastle don't get battered.
You could get him ahead of Higuain double, but not 11 million or whatever he's at now.
Kolasinac maybe.
Yeah.
But no, not really. I don't think. Just go for it.
FPL _ Nick, Kiwi Nick _ FPL has asked a question on Twitter. So thank you, Nick, for your question. I'm going to answer it with a shrugging emoji. He says, triple captain Sterling or Aguero?
Aguero!
I mean, but either could hurt you, right? Sterling's 15-minute hat trick.
If one don't get you, the other one will.
Banging,
and obviously, if you don't have either, Suj, they'll both fucking get you. I'm pretty sure of it.
Mate, Nick, there's just literally, I mean, I don't think that's an answerable question.
Aguero's the first name on the sheet for me. He'll be my captain. I'm 99% sure.
I think if you look at legacy and history, then probably Aguero is where I would go as well. But this is one of those where we're not giving you any money back guarantees on that one, mate. Jason H. Jason H underscore NCFC.
Norwich
City.
team are flying, by the way.
Yeah, mate. And I'm in the Norwich County Council paid for FPL League. I've dropped down to 10th in that. So
does a subscription go up on that if they get promoted?
I have no idea, but there might be a few more players for sure. He's joking around about whether or not Kane's already claimed the first goal at the new stadium. No doubt about that. But he says, in all seriousness, whether Kane is the best shout or Dele Alli. You've just mentioned Dele Alli as an outside chance. I quite like being risky with differentials and fancy a little bit Dele Alli. If I'm looking for something different.
Yeah. Then you look at it and go, he's never scored at Anfield. He's never scored in a home fixture against Palace. I don't think Kane has either. Not in a home fixture against Palace. He's got a couple at Selhurst, I think. I don't think they've ever scored at home to them. Can't think off the top of my head. Since Palace come back up, they haven't scored against us in a home game, whether it been at Wembley or at White Hart Lane. 5 seasons or so now. But I think the last 4 at home have been 1-0. As I said, the last 5 anywhere have been 1-0 in the league. There's been a couple of Palace wins to nil in cups. And I think the first season they come up, I think it was 2-0. It's always low scoring.
Yeah. Okay. JB at JB289. I'm rattling through these just because I want to get through as many as you can.
No, go on.
All good?
Yeah.
Budget defence for all-out attack.
Yeah.
Cheers, chaps. Love the pod.
If you're on the free hit, yeah.
Yeah, I think me as well. I'm looking at the 3-9s.
If you're wild card in
4-1s,
or
4-2s.
you carried through, then you've got to have a little bit better balance. But I mean, it's very conceivable to have. It's gone a little bit with Southampton not playing. I think that people were really looking at that, and it's going to force a few rethinks for those who thought they would play in 32. But yeah, you can have some budget ones. I mean, you look at Palace, you could go Wan-Bissaka. James Tompkins 4.3 is worth a mention. Should have shouted earlier. Gator 4.2. You can go these guys, and if you hit on the Huddersfield home game, that'll do you.
Yeah,
because you're looking for the explosiveness elsewhere.
Exactly. Wille Pilström. I hope I really did your name justice there.
Probably not.
Wille Pilström would like to know, is it worth taking hits to get double game week players? And he's talking about, to be honest, I'm thinking in the likes of Sterling, Rashford, etc. So yes, at that point, like if you're talking about getting hits in to get defensive coverage of 2 Palace, then no. But the attacking options for sure, like Rashford, Sterling, Chelsea and City especially.
Depends as well, right? So
where from?
Yeah, what's happening afterwards? So are you free hitting 33 or do you need the players in 33 as well? So I mean, if suddenly you're getting Hazard in and it covers you the double 32 and the blank 33, fucking hell, get on with it. Yeah, just do it.
Yeah. There is so Amber Redmond. Shout out Amber for asking us a question. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Predict the question you'll be asked most next week.
Oh fuck me! I read that question as well, and I didn't give it a second thought. Captain. In fact, the question I'll get most is probably fucking Harry Kane in or not. Probably.
Yeah, and there's quite a few of those which we're gonna whiz past, but. I think I'm going to be asking you how your new stadium experience is, because there's quite a lot of questions about that as well. Big question mark around.
I don't really want to talk about it on the pod because I'll get fucking giddy and talk about it too. I'm so fucking excited. I swear to
be
God.
Home.
Yes.
Get home within 45 minutes rather than 2 hours.
Fucking wait.
Amber also asked, what's the one thing you would change about the game if you were in charge? Now, we got asked that question by the guys at the Three Amigos when we did the Getting to Know You podcast. So do search that. The Three Amigos do a great podcast, and we were on one of the episodes, Getting to Know You. Do you remember what you said?
Yeah, I came up with some weird idea just to be different about setting price points at the start of the season, not being 0.5 and 0.0, and having, okay, let's start with Kane at 12.3 and see people try and fucking work the shit out.
Yeah.
Like we do all season. I don't know why we don't start like that, because within a couple of weeks we're all at that
At that
level,
point
right?
anyway.
And we are now.
Yep.
So I the reason I said that on the guys' podcast was because everybody kind of makes the same moans about the BPS, and
Yeah,
it's
true.
the lack of transparency and things like, all right, Kepa saved the penalty. Yeah, get the you're getting the points for saving the penalty. You don't have to get the top fucking bonus when you're losing 2-0 as well. It's ridiculous. Fabianski last year, top bonus, lost 5-0 at Man City and he got top fucking bonus. I know he made a load of saves, but it's ridiculous. There are things that we've all moaned about it enough.
Indeed.
Ask Tom who got the assist because I know he's sick of being asked. So directed those questions at him.
Yeah. I think I said I would shut the game down as soon as
You
the
did.
deadline. As soon as the
You did,
deadline passes, you can't log into the app or the website, and then it doesn't open up again until the last game's finished.
say that.
That'd be pretty fucking good. It'd save it, but it'd give people back millions of man hours and lives
That's
for
very
sure.
true.
City fan at the Blue City is asking a question for you specifically about how you think the new stadium will affect Spurs, and I mean he's coming at it from specifically the City Champions League semi-final, quarter-final.
No
sorry.
idea. I mean, I think it certainly gives us a better chance than playing at Wembley. That's unquestionable. Hopefully, the crowd will take inspiration from what the Cop did, and the Cop are always like that at Anfield and obviously Champions League nights. And we need to try and create that in our own. Our stadium's going to be nothing like Anfield, but we need to try and create that vibe close to that and make it hostile as it can be in a modern purpose-built stadium.
True.
So that can only help our impact for the rest of the season. It certainly is an uplifting positive for the players, the manager definitely, and obviously the supporters. It can't be a negative. Put it this way, it's not going to harm us any worse than staying at Wembley was, because we've played well in one game at Wembley this season, which was home to Chelsea.
FPL _badly drawn blue. Ask whether we should steer clear of Wolves and Watford due to rotation before they play their FA Cup semi-finals. It's something that we've spoken about. So if you've been listening to the pod to get as far as having your question answered, then it is a risk. And obviously the FA Cup tie, they've got the opportunity of getting to a final. And this is a game at Wembley, the semi-final.
Really look forward to that semi-final,
so
actually.
It's
Wolves
going to
and
be tough. So yes, there's every chance of a bit of rotation there potentially with the other fixtures.
I think the fact that they've both got doubles on the Tuesday and the semi-finals not till the Sunday should help, particularly in the cases of sort of Jimenez Hotter. I think my take on Jimenez is I know the majority of people have carried him through and therefore going to play him. There's a lot of free hit teams that are looking quite templatey already, and I think actually the fact that Southampton are not playing might spice that up a little bit now. But I need to do something a little bit different, so I'm almost definitely completely avoiding Wolves.
Craig Schotter at Schotter Avaladze on Twitter says, have you boys heard of NFL fantasy? Should we just go and play that instead? Because this game's turning into a farce. And he also adds that James should be up for it because your stadium's American football
I've seen a lot
stadium.
of people on Twitter playing the Norwegian season starting on it.
Oh, is
And
it?
the setup of the game looks the same.
Right.
You're looking and going, I don't know any of these fucking players.
Let's give it a punt.
But people are having a bash it. I know like General's been bigging it up and a few other people as well are having a good bash it. And they ain't got a fucking clue. That's completely on numbers, isn't it?
Yeah, data driven.
You're not watching the fucking... I don't even know. Tippelagen, is it called, the Norwegian league? NFL. I've tried to watch Super Bowls before, man. I ain't got a fucking clue what's going on, mate.
Nah, me neither.
Stadiums look good.
Tash at NJPer on Twitter, specifically for me, says, if you hadn't triple captained Leroy Sané, would you triple captain him for the upcoming double game week? No. You just wouldn't. You'd go with Aguero or Sterling. Would I triple captain a City player? 100%.
Aguero and Sterling in your team now?
No, they are not. David Silva, Ederson and Laporte. I have to add the caveat. I've probably spent about 6 minutes planning my free hit team so far, but I think I need to sort it out tonight because of price rises. And I think it's important to mention.
Be conscious of it.
There are players that are going to be going up and down in price.
Just on the free hits, we get it asked so much. No, you cannot increase the value of your squad during a free hit but you can obviously buy players before they rise in price.
Yeah.
And you can sell players before they fall in price.
You can increase the value of your squad in the sense of
For the single game week, yes.
No, but if if I own Paul
It's not
Pogba,
increase it, you can make the best of it.
Yeah. But say I own a player, I own Josh King, and I'm going to get rid of him in my free hit. He's 6.4. When I get him back, if he's gone up to 6.5, I get him back at 6.5. I then get him back at 6.4, surely.
We ain't going to, though. You
No,
got to figure all the players
that
that we held in 31 are all they ain't going up in price. Like, even Josh King's not going to go up in price, mate. They got Leicester away.
No.
And people ain't going to be fucking buying him, mate.
Well, he did score 2 goals, and you know what the fucking sheep mentality is.
I do know what the sheep mentality is like, yes, but no. Yeah, moving on.
FPL hindsight. Many people suggesting that we go Man United, that is. But apart from Pogba, are there any other standout options?
Yes,
Can't see them
Rashford.
keeping a clean sheet. There's plenty of attacking options out there, better than Lukaku and Rashford, whose form has dipped recently, where he scored a nice goal on the weekend.
Yeah, I think Rashford's easier to avoid if you haven't carried through. So if you free hit 31 or... I think if Lukaku's injured, he's nailed, isn't he? Look at his price playing for, until the last couple of games, the most informed team in the country over the calendar year. What is he? 7-4 is he or something? I don't even know. I bought a 6-9, I think.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's a certainty for me.
Let's put this question out because it's I quite like it. Vasily Filkov, who says, to James,
Okay.
if you would have to choose between Lost at
Do we
Crystal
know
Palace...
that Vasily speaks like
I don't know,
this?
but I speak Russian, so I could ask you in my Russian accent. Spasibo большое, if you are Russian. To James, would you rather choose a defeat? So you've got to choose between one of the two. Defeat to Palace
Oh, I've seen this, yeah.
or defeat to City at home. So beat City but lose your first game in the new stadium.
I'd rather lose to Palace.
You'd rather lose to Palace and
Yeah.
beat City.
It's such a fucking horrible question.
I can feel the sweat beads coming out of your head. What a good question. Vasily, this is probably the best question of the season.
I'd rather lose to Palace
Yeah.
because it's a league season and you can still fucking make up the ground potentially if it goes wrong. Not that we can afford to not be beating Crystal Palace, by the way. Plus, I've booked my trains and my hotel in Manchester. So I really don't want to go up there.
You got your tickets, I'm assuming, as well.
I'll get tickets, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that's the nightmare when you go up to City just to get battered. You lose the first leg like 2-3-0.
Yeah.
Yeah. Spent another couple of £100 for to see my team get bummed again, basically.
No.
So, yeah, if it came to it, yeah, all right, it's the first game. The thing is with things like that, right?
Who remembers?
Well, no, people do. I mean, you remember Olof Melberg, don't you?
No.
Do you know who the first team was? One at the Emirates?
I do not.
You should know. It was your lot.
Was it?
Yeah. Well, the first away team, obviously.
Yeah.
Someone's going to do it at some point, right?
Yeah.
You go, you're never going to lose a home game, or it's going to happen, isn't it? In some ways, it might be better to get that out of the way at some way. It's going to happen at some point.
Yeah, but if it does, then all the talk in the media is going to be, oh, Spurs bottling it at the new ground is not going to be easy. And these things, they have a habit of becoming self-perpetuating. The more people say it, the more it becomes a kind of
Listen,
myth.
like all football clubs, there's a narrative about Spurs. So, I've said this many times, Spurs must win a trophy. Hey, listen, Man City are 15 games from fucking immortality and completing football if they win them all, mate.
Yeah.
What exactly could my team win? So... No.
Let's answer a question that might help some listeners. Milan Dobricic. Hey guys, what is a good strategy regarding the goalkeepers for the next double game week? So you're going with Foster. Who's your spare keeper? Reserve keeper? Speroni.
I could go Gomez. It's 4.2. It depends how much money I've got available.
Why would you not just go cheap to the cheapest shit keeper
just in case you get dirty unlucky, right? I mean, in the warm-up, someone takes a shot at Ben Foster and he breaks his hand.
Yeah.
And,
so you'd go with the cheapest other double game week playing keeper,
unbelievably,
and then the keeper you want.
You would be unbelievably unlucky. But say things I wouldn't do Gator and Hennessy. Gator was really concerning. I watched the semi-final at Watford. Yes, it was quite windy. It feels like it's been windy for a fucking month now. I'd be concerned. Palace playing against a Huddersfield side who obviously will take long throws and bits like that at certain parts of the game, that Hennessy might play. He might come back in. I don't think that's beyond reason at all. So I'd completely avoid them. There's the issue with Patricio as well. Does Ruddy suddenly play a game? I don't see that particularly, but it's a possibility. To take the worries away, Ederson obviously kills a lot of problems. I'll almost definitely be Foster or Ederson. Just depends on where I want to work the value elsewhere.
Yeah. Rajdeep Chakrabarti, simple question, simple answer. If I save a free transfer this week and free hit, will I have 2 in game week 33? No.
Our survey said.
Right. Well, Will Bill FPL
Will Bill
says, what's the best formation for a free hit team for this upcoming double game week?
The one that's going to get you the most fucking points.
It's definitely going to be 3 up front, right?
No.
5 and 2 or 4 and 3.
No, he's 3 at the back, definitely.
Yeah. We agreed on that.
If you look at the defensive teams across the games, I mean, City, Chelsea have got the best of it, but then you want the attacking players from those,
Correct.
right? So the rest don't look great, I don't think. They've all got one that looks all right as a maybe. Even Brighton, we talked about them again. Home to Southampton, it could be. They're all right at the Amex. Palace at home to Huddersfield. It just takes that one moment and you're going to feel gutted about it. So I definitely wouldn't be doubling up defensively on this, I don't think. If I was going to double up defensively, I'd go Chelsea. Just because, you don't want to waste that on 2 City defenders that are going to get rotated, would you? But definitely 3 at the back. Whether you want to go 5 in midfield or 3 up front's up to you. I would suggest you will find it easier to have a budget midfielder than a budget forward on your bench.
Let's go to Matthew Hall at Dr. Matt 07. I know this is very late, so I'm assuming he's asked the question late because you'd put the tweet out.
He's on the fucking pod.
But what is the hype around Milivojevic? Is everyone really banking on Palace getting a penalty for a 6.3 rated midfield player? Well, I've seen him put a couple of free kicks in top corners as well. So
yes,
he has got a boot on him. But when you've got players ahead of you like Wilf Zaha, you do win penalties. 6.3 is not. It's expensive.
They were such a miss for them again at the weekend, Zaha. It's just not the same side with him, and he just gives them, particularly in away games, it just gives them such a different aspect in terms of how they can play.
Yeah.
You can't leave yourself isolated 1-on-1 against him. You think, it's Palace, but you just can't. I mean, what could Zaha do to Trippier at the new stadium? I don't really want to think about it, to be honest with you. Milivojevic, I think, is fine. And also with him, he's going to play twice.
I agree with you on that as well.
So we mentioned him and Decore a few weeks ago. And that Decore doesn't look safe anymore. No. If you want someone sitting in there who could get you a goal, definitely going to play both. Yeah, I'm fine with it. Personally, I'd rather go for someone cheaper. I don't think he's not like he was enabling everyone last year.
Delafeu or whatever.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. FPL_blonde asks a question, and FPL Cobra answered it very easily. And I do quite like FPL Cobra's answer. Have you seen this one? Okay. You have 1 minute to name and shame 6 teams that I should not consider
I do remember the question.
For the rest of the season. You up for it? Do you know FPL Cobra's answer?
Oh, yeah, I have seen it. West Ham.
And still West Ham.
Well, we kind of mentioned it. I asked you earlier. Yeah. Would you consider them for 34? The answer's no.
Do you know I enjoy it when we fuck up everyone's FPL? I really do, because they've been pissing me off, my team, for however many years. I love them, but they've been pissing me off. About time everyone else feels some of the pain that we do as West Ham fans when they let you down in FPL. So no apologies for the fact that West Ham piss everyone off in FPL. Let's have it, because now you know how we feel. There you go. Rant over.
At West Ham, unfortunately, mate, like it or not, actually, they would come top of that list, I think.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Closely followed by Everton.
I wasn't considering them anyway. Huddersfield, you're not considering.
And
really.
then there's a few others. Bournemouth have got a good run to the end of the season if you're running through.
Newcastle's
Leicester
after
getting 33, I think. Did you know Newcastle's record from this season to last season at this stage is identical?
Wow.
As in even goals scored and goals conceded. Exactly the same. And they finished last year well, ended up finishing 10th, didn't they? And their fixtures are all right. Yeah. So now Newcastle, Bournemouth, okay. I think Leicester beyond 33, I wouldn't be too keen on. West Ham and Everton really are the main two, I would say. And then possibly, depending on the way it works in Europe, you might even throw maybe even Chelsea into that beyond 33 when they go to Liverpool. If it suddenly opens up and they're adrift to the top 6 and still in the Europa, they might become very avoidable.
Couple more questions.
Yeah.
And then we'll call it a pod.
All
right. Jamie Dodd, and I like Jamie's question, at JD Suka on Twitter, as in Davor Suka. Great player he was.
Not Superfly Snooker, just to clarify. Cool.
Free hitting in 32, chunky chips, but considering going without Hazard and Pogba to load up on expensive differentials like Kane, Ali, maybe Lukaku. Is this absolutely stupid?
No.
The last player you mentioned there, Lukaku, yes, but the others, no.
And there's stupid. I just personally that you look at him before the injury and go, he's playing well, he's scoring again. I just can't foresee why you would pick Lukaku over Rashford, even if he is fit. That's just me. That's my personal opinion. But there are plenty out there who obviously disagree because I've seen Lukaku in a lot of teams.
I think I'm going to pick two, of my 11. There'll be at least 2 that are differential, what you'd consider differentials that are not going to have been picked by as many. So Dele Alli has the potential of being one. Delafeu potentially has the chance of getting
James
in.
Ward-Prowse for a single game.
Nah, I don't love him that much. 34 is not that far away. I can wait. I can wait.
Yes, it's viable. There aren't that many in the midfield areas. David Silva is another one, possibly. I sent you. I'm just looking at my phone because our differential team is on a free hit, and I did a first draft that I sent you yesterday. Ali and Eriksson, David Silva in it. Delafeu, Batshuayi, Lukaku before rumours of injury. Higuain, Rudiger, Lindelof, Van Aanholt, Kepa in goal.
Mm-hmm.
And they were all at the start of this week owned by under 5%, except for I think Eriksson and David Silva, who we carried through.
Yeah.
And Lindelof.
Okie doke. Last question. FPL style. FPL guy 12 says, and this is such a simple answer. With David Silva, one of the only midfielders not on international duty, would he be a certainty to start both game week 32 minute matches? Worth considering for the free hit. And as Mosh AS has answered with no. It's like 31 or 32
Just no
game weeks into the season. If you're asking us questions about Pep's rotation, where have you been for 31 game weeks?
I'm tired, by the way, of people responding to people's questions in our thread. Pissing me off.
That's what Twitter is. That's what Twitter is for. Twitter's the place to vomit anything you want to vomit out.
Easy guaranteed.
Anywhere you want to.
Let me tell you something about a double game week. There are no guarantees.
And throw into the mix it's City and Pep. There's just no guarantees.
Listen,
anywhere.
you think he's guaranteed Harry Kane's going to play both games?
Yeah.
He might get injured in the first one. He might get injured on international duty. There are no guarantees on a double because anything can happen in the first one, right?
So, all the other questions on the whole are around Spurs, around single player coverage, around Sterling and Aguero for captaincy, and everything that we've already spoken about.
Let's fuck off then.
We will. So we're coming at you on Tuesday. We'll be back in a week.
Yeah, as I said, I'll do some analysis on different strategies and a bit more, and we'll obviously be out the other end of the international break as well.
We'll know who's injured and who's
basically.
not. And I think I'm going to try and put my first draft of free hit team together. But it's important if you have players, keep an eye on FPL statistics because that will tell you who's going up in value.
Yeah,
you don't want to miss a
obviously
0.1. And
fancy footy fix as well. The only thing, just those guys, both of them are brilliant, and the work that goes into it. Just bear in mind, the more wildcards and free hit transfers there are, the more it skews the numbers.
Yeah.
So there's a
you
few.
may not get a price
Correct.
where you expect you
There might be more anomalies than you would normally expect on those price changes. So don't take a chance. If there's a player you want who looks like he's at 80% rise, just fucking get him in.
Yeah.
That's the advice.
Fine. Other than that, do share the podcast with all your FPL playing friends. Anyone that you know that had a shit game week, just let them know that so did 4 million other people. And if they are thinking about strategies and free hit and need some advice and help and all the rest of it, then hopefully this pod will help as we've been through all of the games.
Nice.
Anything else to add?
No. Good luck, everyone, doing fuck all this weekend. And Q Music, Manchild.
Ciao for now.
The Fantasy Football Show.